Hello and welcome to P2E Today. I am Aisha Jibrin. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday accepted the presidential nomination form purchased by a group, the Nigerian Consolidated Ambassadors Network. He also seized the opportunity to again lash out to defectors from the ruling party. According to President Buhari, they are weak and selfish politicians.
We are decisively addressing new security challenges locally while maintaining our regional and international commitments. On infrastructure development, 1, we are completing old rail and road projects and starting new ones. 2, we are reviving power projects which have been abandoned for decades. 3, we are developing affordable housing projects across the country. 4, we have commenced the long overdue repairs and upgrades of our sea and airports facilities. On food security, we have supported our farmers to produce. We have rehabilitated abandoned fertilizer plants. We have seen unprecedented investment in food processing. All these have led to a decline in food and other agricultural imports. Our fight against corruption is also yielding results. The strict implementation of the Treasury single account has stopped the leakages in government activities. Our aggressive anti-corruption campaign has shown that it is no longer business as usual.
And in response to President Buhari's comment, former Vice President Abubakar Atiku says the president's failure to retain people like him is a sign of weakness. Abubakar added that his attempt to come to power is, quote, to clean the mess that Buhari would leave, which has resulted in job loss, poor economy, and the ranking of the country as one of the poorest, unquote. He said in his statement by his campaign spokesman, Segun Showunmi, that Nigeria had never had a more incompetent person as president. Atiku argued that Buhari has not been able to provide leadership and pointed at the UN Convention on Freedom of Association to justify his decision to leave the APC. The All Progressive Congress has set conditions for the adoption of consensus candidates by its state chapters, is according to the parties because of the indiscriminate announcement of consensus candidates in some states. It said in a statement by its acting spokesman, Yekini Nabena, that it does not foreclose direct or indirect primaries for all elective positions. APC added the consensus will apply when no other aspirants signify interest through purchase of nomination forms for the positions in question. There is a last-minute rush to collect and submit nomination forms at the APC National Secretariat. High-caliber politicians cited at the party office are Niger State Governor Sani Bello, former Minister Pauline Talin, and Senate spokesman Senator Sabi Abdullahi. Also seen at the APC Secretariat in Abuja is former Oyo Governor Adebayo Alao Akala.
The All Progressive Congress could best be described as a beehive of activities. The early callers are some of the biggest political names in the country. Some of them provided insight into their ambition.
Now that we are seeking re-election, it's very obvious when we go back to the field, we should be able to go and tell our people what we have done for them. And on this note, I think I'm very confident that by the special grace of God, I have served my people diligently. I have struggled as their representative to ensure that dividends of democracy gets into Niger North Senatorial District, and to also speak out with respect to the problems that affect that very great senatorial district.
You can see a groundswell of support for what we're trying to do. The distinguished senator, I'm sure, had come here and also have picked up his form for governor. I have picked up mine and have submitted same. Maybe there will be one or two other aspirants, perhaps. I mean, I wouldn't speak until all of those things have taken place. But I can tell you that I have the party, the rank and file of the party faithful behind this aspiration. And it cuts across, you know, all party lines. I find people in the Labour Party supporting my aspiration. I find people in AFGA supporting my aspiration, right across. And the APC will be blessed, you know, if they have me as the candidate of the party for the 2019 governorship elections.
And all the way from Ibadan is a former Oyo State governor.
With respect to other Yoruba area of western of the western southwest part of the country, our own Yoruba, Oyo Yoruba, is what they use in writing GC, because we are the real core Yoruba. So we don't see ourselves as Okeogun, Oyo, or Ibadan. But when they want to bring in politics, they will bring that one on the front border. Anybody can become governor at any time in Oyo State. There's no zoning and nothing like zoning. If you think you are fit to be a governor, why don't you put yourself up?
Some of the aspirants were emphatic on some trending issues that have been topics of debate within the party.
Anybody that is a popular politician will never second to indirect primaries. Direct primaries is more democratic, and that is the only option that will express the wishes of the people.
I would have preferred direct primaries so that I can judge and I can see my popularity with my people. That will give me confidence on what they're going to do for me in the general election. But now that it is like this, it is still my people, my party members, my executives that are going to vote. We have no problem with that, and we're going to go into election. And we believe justice is going to be delivered.
The aspirants are convinced that the primaries will be a credible process with a level playing field for all. Francis Etuko, PTV News, Abuja.
Senate President, the presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Bukola Saraki, has named Doyin Okupe as the chairman of the media council for his campaign organization. Director General of the campaign team, Mohammed Wakil, disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja. He added that the medical doctor is expected to work with other top professionals in the team to communicate Saraki's campaign messages to local and international audiences. Dr. Okupe was the director of communications of the presidential campaigns of two former presidents, Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan, and later served as spokesman for the two. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Munguno, says security operatives are prepared for the 2019 elections. The NSA disclosed this in Abuja at a consultative meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission.
It's been a busy month for the election umpire, and it doesn't look like they're ready to take a rest. This is the tone of security agencies to meet with INEC. Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu set the tone for the deliberations.
The Electoral Act, specifically Section 26, empowers the Commission to suspend election on account of violence or threat of violence. And therefore, as a civic duty, elections can only hold where we have secure environment to hold these elections. So we'll continue to partner and continue to work with excess. As we approach the 2019 general elections, our meetings are going to become more frequent and more regular. For our part, we'll do whatever we need to do to ensure that we find solution to this challenge, including, as we have consistently said, the administration of our polling units.
NSA Mungunu reeled out the plans of security agencies for the elections.
Now, as the 2019 elections draw closer, there will be a greater need for us to meet more frequently to deal with whatever issues that may arise and forestall any unpleasant situation before, during, and immediately after the elections. In terms of capacity building, it is our intention to continue to build on whatever we have received from our forebears. And as a starter, there will be the Election Security Management Seminar, which has been slated for the 11th of October, which will be opened by the President. Now, the idea is for us to streamline all the areas that need to be looked at and to begin a training session for all security operatives who will.
INEC is expected to meet more agencies before the end of the quarter. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
Initiator of the Not Too Young to Run Act, Representative Tony Nwulu, has picked his nomination form to run for the Imo State governorship seat under the platform of the United Progressive Party. Nwulu is the first Imo politician to collect nomination form at the UPP National Secretariat in Abuja.
After breaking ethnic barrier in Lagos to clinch the Isolo Oshodi slot in Nigeria's House of Reps, Tony Nwulu is set for another feat, that of being the youngest governor in the political history of Imo State. The federal lawmaker left the main opposition party, the PDP, for the lesser-known UPP, and as the electoral process demands, he now has the nomination form to set the ball on his governorship ambition rolling.
UPP! Love and unity! Love and unity!
And after the successful purchase of the nomination form, it's time to hear from the man behind the landmark of the Not Too Young to Run Act.
I can reliably tell you that facts and figures on ground shows that my party has become a party to reckon with in Imo State. That's to start with. And then when you talk about the powers that be, like I told you when I started this, the power resides with the people. The people are the powers that be. And at the right time, they will make their choice. And I'm sure that that choice will be Tony Nwulu.
The party has done some extra work on the aspirants. I've gone this far. But it is my honor and pleasure to present to you the party nomination form for the governorship race in Imo State. And I present this to you with the glory of God. I expect to that INEC will do the same.
He also made a case for Imo youths.
To a great extent, that we reduced the age for running for election does not mean that you don't have to be qualified to even seek that position. It's not an all-comers affair. You must have the intellectual capability to stay whatever office you intend to occupy. Let's start with that one. But then, where you would also fault that comment is that the system has not, in earnest, supported the growth of the young people.
Until recently, there were two parties in the Imo governorship race. But now the party, whose logo is the tiger's head, is seen as a third force. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
More governorship candidates have emerged in Benue State, and the latest to join the race is the immediate past special advisor to Benue State Governor on local government and chieftaincy affairs, Titus Zam. Zam said his decision to join the governorship race was predicated on the poor performance of the incumbent governor and his exit from APC to PDP.
The 2019 general elections is barely a few months away, and the political space has been full of activities. As states begin to gear up for their party primaries, other aspirants have continued to indicate interest to seek election into offices. Now, Titus Zam is the latest to join the governorship race in Benue.
In line with the anti-corruption measures of the President Muhammad Buhari-led federal government, I will also domesticate good governance strategies in consonance with the contemporary international development system. Here, what I'm talking about is that some of us who are in the academics and have also taken time to carry out some research about development, the major concept now in the international development paradigm, whether it's the United Nations or World Bank, is good governance concept with emphasis on efficient and effective service delivery, prudent management of resources, rule of law, accountability, transparency, free press.
If elected governor, the former ally to Ortom promised to reinstate over 10,000 local government workers who were sacked by Governor Ortom.
Let me tell you exactly what has happened about this issue of the new imposing tax posed by the Ortom's administration. The preceding government of PDP abused employment in the local government. Council chairmen were employing people at their own level without recourse to the Local Government Service Commission. Local Government Service Commission, on its part, also didn't conduct themselves well because some approvers were not genuine. You don't need to meet a big man in the commission, he types a letter of approval and gives you to go and employ. So when I assumed duty at Bureau, there was no specific staff list in the local government. So it was difficult for me to even pay. And that partly explains why from January 2015 to May, there was no payment.
At the end, the governorship aspirant accused the Governor Ortom-led government of failing to develop the states.
Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom on Tuesday swore into office the first substantive female head of civil service. He also added with the task of ensuring that harmony and better performance in the service is done. The swearing-in ceremony took place at the Old Banquet Hall of the Government House in Makurdi, the state capital.
Veronica Onyeka making history in Benue State. Governor Ortom recognizes the tax ahead and urged her to live up to expectation.
Must add that because we are gender friendly and sensitive, the first female head of service of Benue. Let me quickly add that her appointment has come at a time that the civil service is facing many challenges, which include indiscipline, lack of commitment to duty, absenteeism, and dwindling performance as a result of government inability to pay arrears of salaries. There is no doubt that our state, like many others in the country, is passing through difficult times with paucity of funds, slowing down the momentum of our services to the Benue public.
She promised to do her best to elevate service in the states.
So I appreciate and thank you, His Excellency, for this honor. I want to assure you that this confidence reposed in me, I will never betray it. I will uphold the tenets of the service and build on what my predecessor has taught. I will also not forget my oath of allegiance today. So thank you, sir. Thank you, and thank you.
Veronica Onyeka takes over from George Ede, who has proceeded on retirement. She was, until her elevation, the permanent secretary in the office of the deputy governor.
Majority of Nigerians that took part in the survey say new media is a major breeding ground for fake news. The survey carried out by NOI polls showed that almost 70% out of 1,000 respondents came to that conclusion. The poll specifically showed that 67% of Nigerians see it as the home of fake news. This findings collaborates with the report on the two-day conference by the Center for Democracy and Development, which revealed that the emergence of new media, especially social media, is giving rise to fake news in the country. More people specifically cited Facebook and WhatsApp as the major sources of stories that are forwarded without verifying the authenticity. Conversely, the traditional media is seen as a better source of authentic news, with radio as the most preferred and newspaper the least. 80% of those surveyed agreed that fake news is capable of triggering hatred and violence, as well as panic and tension. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Tuesday closed its case against former Oyo State Governor Rashid Ladoja. The politician is standing trial for an alleged 4.7 billion naira fraud before a federal high court in Lagos alongside the former Commissioner for Finance Wahid Akambi. The accused were brought before Justice Mohammed Idris on December 14, 2016 for allegedly siphoning and laundering the amount from the government coffers of Oyo State government. At the resumed trial on Tuesday, Defense Counsel Adeyinka Olumide Tusika and Bolaji Oninela told the court they intended making a no-case submission and prayed the court for adjournment. Justice Mohammed Idris adjourned the case until September 27th for adoption of written addresses. Few days after some Abuja residents experienced earth tremor, the FCT Emergency Management Agency is still not sure about the cause. Director General of the agency, Idris Abbas, said the agency was yet to establish whether it was man-made or natural. He, however, said that if it was natural, it would stop on its own, insisting that it could happen again in 12 years. He added that if the case was caused by activities of company blasting rocks or drilling boreholes around the affected areas, it can reoccur. Abbas, however, said that the activities of the drillers had since been stopped. He said that FEMA would embark on advocacy and sanitation with the general public to tell them what to do in case of tremor. The death toll from the gas explosion in Lafia has risen to 9. Nasarawa State Governor Umar Al-Makura confirmed the figure on Tuesday when he visited the scene of the incident to assess the level of damage. Al-Makura described the incident as unfortunate and condoled with the victims' families. He also assured survivors of the best medical attention. 17 victims with over 60% burns out of 37 affected have since been transferred to the National Traumatic Center in Abuja, but 3 among them later died. Inhabitants of Uwogun community are now happy people. This is because one major challenge facing them for years have been addressed through a water project by a non-governmental organization. According to the donors, the choice of building the water project in the community borders on efforts to complement government strides on development.
Before now, water supply has been a major setback for the people of Ovia, southwest in Edo State. But life may begin to make more meaning to them as their worries have now been laid to rest. For decades, the locals trek through kilometers in search of water. And sadly, their only source of water supply is unhealthy for consumption. Now the story has changed.
You know what water is? So the value of water is what, as others value water, so we value it here. We don't have any other source of water. This is the only source of water we have. So we highly appreciate it. So much that, just imagine, see how close it is now. To travel to about, our river here is about 3 kilos. 3 kilos and not up to 5 centimeters, which is more advantageous. So we are very happy. It is, we appreciate that they are bringing this thing to us and really giving us upliftment.
For the donors, water is life, and more importantly, they are interested in giving clean water to communities to help ease the stress of poor conditions.
We are more interested in clean water to communities that need water because, just like we said, water is life. And this is why the LDS Charities gives water to communities that are in need of it. The project just took a few months to complete. From the arrangement, when we talk about when we started the arrangement and everything, it took about 8 months altogether. The village contacted us. They contacted us. They requested for water. And LDS Charities gives water. And that's what it just does for Edo communities. So when they applied, we came here, we assessed the environment and said these people need water. And that's how we concluded about giving them water.
With smiles on their faces, these residents say they would no longer go to the stream to fetch water.
Even the power using the stream before is now less.
That's it. There's no power doing that. We have the oil with us. This we are very, very happy about it.
People who FDS preached to us, we are very, very happy. We are grateful for that giving us this boyhood. Though we have been getting boyhood, but this one is original. So thank God for everything. Thank God for them. What they have done for us, they are certified, fully certified.
With the installation of this borehole, health experts say acute infectious disease like chronic diarrhea, which can arise from chemical species such as arsenic and fluoride, can be avoided.
And that's all on the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Aisha Jibrin.
As usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know crisis in the embassy.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm the Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC. He don't need PVC. I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute that investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
Soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
Under the law, no religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.